to see even more realism on the continent as it relates to the threat of the Communist Party in China. We should address that challenge together, as transatlantic partners have met many challenges. And that's what I want to focus on today. I spoke this month with the EU foreign ministers, and then last Friday at an audience in Copenhagen. In both places, I listened to a lot of feedback about the Chinese Communist Party. And I laid out a series of facts. I talked about the People's Liberation Army's provocative military actions. They include its continued aggression in the South China Sea, deadly border confrontations in India, an opaque nuclear program, and threats against peaceful neighbors. Talked about how the CCP has broken multiple international commitments, including those to the WHO, the WTO, the United Nations, and the people of Hong Kong. The CCP's cover-up of the coronavirus, an outbreak that began in Wuhan, China, which has now killed tens of thousands of our people and hundreds of thousands of people across the world, I think it's accelerated everyone's awakening. My message today is this: we have to work together to continue the transatlantic awakening to the China challenge in the interest of preserving our free societies, our prosperity, and our future. It won't be easy. It's tempting for many, particularly in our business communities, who make money in China, to say we must calm tensions and simply accept an increasingly belligerent CCP. That's nonsense. I don't accept that argument. There is no compromise between freedom and authoritarianism. I don't want the future to be shaped by the CCP, and I'd wager no one on this call wants that either. To that end, today I'm pleased to announce that the United States has accepted High Representative Borrell's proposal to create a U.S.-EU dialogue on China. I'm excited about this. A new mechanism for discussing the concerns we have about the threat China poses to the West and our shared democratic ideals. It's been a long time since there has been a strategic review of our force posture all across the world. We undertook that starting about 2.5 years ago, whether that was our forces in Africa, our forces in Asia, or the forces we have in the Middle East and in Europe. This is going to dictate that in certain places there will be fewer American resources. There'll be other places. I just talked about the threat from the Chinese Communist Party. So now threats to India, threats to Vietnam, threats to Malaysia, Indonesia, South China Sea challenges, the Philippines. We're going to make sure we're postured appropriately to counter the PLA. We think that's the challenge of our time, and we're going to make sure we have resources in place to do that. To the extent that that change, the difference in what the United States decide to do, impacts adversely a threat someplace, it may be that other nations need to step up and take responsibility for their own defense in ways that they hadn't done previously. This isn't the United States confronting China, that the world is now confronting China. While I was sitting there, the G7 statement on Hong Kong came out. Literally, someone slipped him a note telling him that the statement had come out. He wanted to say this was just the United States coming after them for the national security law that's pending there. It's not. The challenges in the South China Sea, this isn't the United States and the United States alone. It's a dozen plus Southeast Asian countries and Asian countries who understand the threat. We haven't said we won't trade with them. We've simply said we're going to trade on a fair set of conditions. We haven't said, hey, we're not going to do business with you. We've said, stop stealing our intellectual property. So yes, there's a wide field that we can choose to work on projects with them, but they have to decide. Are they going to continue to abuse the Western system? Are they going to continue to behave in ways that no other nation behaves when it comes to global commerce? We see what they do at the World Trade Organization, right? They still hold out their claim that they're a developed country and they're one of the largest economies in the world. It's not fair. That's not fair not only to Americans and to Brits and to the Dutch. It's not fair to the developed nations who